So there's these 3 milestones to financial stability that I want to give to you. All right, it's going to change your life. If you understand this concept, it's literally going to change how you go ahead, how you move forward. It's going to make life a lot more smoother for you. 5 to 10% of it needs to go towards saving for retirement. You say, Jermaine, but I don't know if I can do that. You got to get there. That's the foundation. That is the foundation. That means if you have to decrease lifestyle a little bit, you got to do that. It'll take you 15 and a quarter years to pay it off. You know what the interest rate is going to cost you? $5,500. This is why Visa loves many people. About what's happening in the economy and how we can better position ourselves. How many of you would be interested in how to circumvent what's going on in the economy, how to better prepare yourself so that you can make better decisions? If that's you, you're in the right place. You are in the right place. So I'm going to jump right into it because we have a lot of content to cover, a lot of material. And so let me share my screen and we're just going to go right into it. All right. Let's see what we can do. All right. So there's these 3 milestones to financial stability that I want to give to you. All right. It's going to change your life. If you understand this concept, it's literally going to change how you go ahead, how you move forward. It's going to make life a lot more smoother for you. You're going to be able to not be battered around. Like I remember when my brothers and I used to go fishing back in the Cayman Islands. We would go out in this little tiny boat, and when the weather is very rough, the boat is like moving around like crazy. Sometimes you're wondering, is the wave going to turn the boat over? Are we going to sink, right? And then you would see some big boats going by and the waves doesn't affect it. Doesn't matter how bad the waves were, the boats is just going no problem. And it's not affected by the waves at all. It wasn't affected by the current. While we're over there trying to struggle to survive, they're just cutting through the waves like it's nobody's business. And I believe this strategy will put you in a position where you can cut through the waves of the financial economy no matter what's going on. No matter what the weather is like in the economy, you'll be able to cut through it and be okay. So there's these 3 milestones. Number 1, the first milestone is building a foundation. Every good plan starts with a foundation. All right. And the second milestone is what we call gaining stability. So you're now stable. All right. And you're going to be as stable as you've built your foundation. And then number 3 is the optimal state. It's where you ideally want to be. Now, there's 3 categories that we're going to look at. Number 1 is we're going to look at the emergency savings. Okay. First thing we're going to look at is the emergency savings. This is the first category. The second category, by the way, emergency savings is your money that you put aside that you can use in the event of an emergency, good or bad, by the way. What's an example of a good emergency? Maybe a wedding, maybe an investment opportunity, right? So these are good emergencies. Bad emergencies, a death in the family, a medical emergency, the roof caves in, this kind of stuff, right? So emergency savings, you got to have money put aside. That's your money. Now, at some point in your life, you got to make a decision that you're going to build an emergency savings and you ain't going to touch it. Like you're only going to use it for an emergency, a legitimate emergency, whether good or bad. Then the second category is the investment for retirement. This is number 2. And investment for retirement, many people ignore their retirement goals. It's like they didn't plan for it, or circumstances came up. They weren't able to save for it. Whatever the situation is, they're in a position where the retirement is on the horizon, but they're not yet ready, right? So these are some of the things we have to look at. and make sure that we take care of. And the third category is the debt to earned income ratio. How much of your money is going out towards debt? So you earn X amount, how much of X is going towards servicing the debt, the car loans, the credit cards? So let's say that we have a family. Let's say that we have a family that's, earning $80,000 a year. That's $6,000, a little bit over $6,000 a month. Let's say $6,700 a month. Let's say their expenses is $5,000 a month, right? Just fictitious, just to paint the example. And let's see what we can do, because many people, they only look at the optimal state. It seems too far, so they don't get started. I want you to hear what I just said. Many people, they only see the end goal. It seems way too far out of reach, so they never get started. Let's say that you had to eat an elephant. I don't know why you would want to do that, but let's just say for some reason you needed to eat an elephant. And how would you do it? How would you do it? You know how you would have to do it? You would have to break it down one bite at a time. And if you're able to do it one bite at a time, eventually you'd be able to eat the elephant. So in this first bite is the first milestone that we need to look at. All right? This is what we need to do. Okay? This is what we need to do. The first milestone, get $1,000 in your emergency savings. If you have $0, get $1,000. If you have $50, get $1,000. If you have $100, get it to $1,000. If you have $500, get it to $1,000. If you have $800, get it to $1,000. Your first objective is to get your emergency savings, a real savings, to $1,000. Not a credit card, nothing, right? The average person cannot come up with $1,000 without going to a credit card. The average person. If you're not there, thank God. Praise God that you're not there, right? You're ahead. You're ahead of most. But average person, if you say, hey, show me $1,000 cash. Majority of people, they got to go to a credit card because they're living paycheck to paycheck. So the first thing is emergency savings should be $1,000. Second thing is investment going towards retirement should be between 5 to 10% of the gross income. All right. So that means if you're making $80,000 a year, our example here, right? $80,000 a year. Let's write it here so we remember. $80,000 a year. That's our example. Out of this $80,000 a year, or $6,700 a month, 5 to 10% of it needs to go towards saving for retirement. You say, Jermaine, but I don't know if I can do that. You got to get there. That's the foundation. That is the foundation. That means if you have to decrease lifestyle a little bit, you got to do that, right? You got to do that so you can build the foundation. That's around $300, $330 to $660 a month if you're making 80 grand a year. So if you're making $6,700, between 330 to 660 of it should go towards at some sort of investment, long-term savings for retirement. That's the foundation, right? And then the third part of that is your debt to earned income ratio should be 20%. What it means, no more than $1,300 should be going out towards debt. If more than $1,300 is going out towards debt, your debt to income ratio is too high. If it's higher than 20%, you're going to find it very, very difficult to pay that debt off. You know what I learned about debt? It's very easy to get into, but very, very difficult to get out of. Very, very. I remember when Tamoy and I, we were in $40,000 worth of debt. It was very easy to get into that debt. In fact, it was so easy to get into that debt. You get into this spiral, one thing leads to another. They start offering more money, and it's just like it'll never stop, right? You just feel like the taps have been turned on until one day you wake up, you're at $40,000 and the payment is pinching you. That payment is just hurting. Like it hurts every time you got to make that payment. In fact, something has to give, because the minute it's over 20%, you're going to start to feel that pinch, right? So make sure that you measure that. And that debt to earn income ratio is not over 20%. So in this case, if a person's making $80,000 a year, which is $6,700 a month, no more than $1,300 should be going towards the debt in servicing any type of debt, right? So $1,300 is the max that should be going over here, $1,300. Okay, that's the foundation. This is when you're not there yet. You're not at the optimal state, but you've started the foundation. What's the next phase? So you have $1,000 in your emergency savings. 5 to 10% of it is going towards your retirement. Your debt to earn income ratio is around 20%. What are you going to do now? Now you should aim to move your emergency savings in the stability phase to 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 months of your emergency savings should be put aside. This is where you're stable, right? These are the people that something happens in the economy, they lose a job, they're downsized. You're wondering, why aren't they so nervous? Why aren't they freaking out? It's because 3 to 6 months of their expenses is put aside. 6 months is ideal. I would say go towards the 6 months, right? Make sure you get to there. That's a half a year if you lose your job to find another job. That's a whole half a year. If you lose your job, you have 6 months, a half a year to find another one. You're not panicking, right? If you don't do anything for 5 months, and then you get to month 6 and you're still looking for a job, you might start to panic, but that's a different story, right? That's a different situation. Call that procrastination. But that's different, right? But you probably won't end up there, seeing as you're a planner, you're a thinker, that you've already planned. You probably won't do that. And at that point, you should now have 10 to 15% of your gross income going towards your retirement savings, right? So going back here, 3 to 6 months of your expenses, that's $15,000 to $30,000. $15,000 to $30,000. So you move from $1,000 over to now $15,000 to $30,000 of your expenses. You are in a much better situation, right? You're not going to be bounced around so much. Who's going to be bounced around more? Person in milestone number 1 or the person in milestone number 2? Right? You're in a position that you can start saving more money. You put 10 to 15% of your money now towards your retirement saving. So you're not saving $330 anymore, instead $330 to $660. What are you saving now? Now you're saving $660 to what? $1,000 a month towards your retirement savings. You beefed it up. You're in a better situation. These are the people that you see, their confidence is not ever shaken by what's happening in the economy. These are the people that are able to act and carry out their lives regardless of what's happening in the economy. They can plan. They can act. Right? People that are not even on milestone 1, they are moving around with the economy. If the economy is going good, things are going good for them. If the economy is going bad, things are going bad for them. And then the debt to income ratio should drop to 10%. Okay, that means no more than $666 should be going towards your debt. Let's say $660. So you see what's happening. Your savings, your emergency savings is going up. The amount you're putting towards your retirement is going up, and your debt to earn income ratio, that means the amount of debt you're paying out, is going down. the money is going in the right places. Okay. This is why I explained to the lady. She said, it's hard. I said, you got to choose your hard. You got to choose your hard. Not doing it is also hard. Doing it is hard, but not doing it is hard, right? So you got to choose your hard. Milestone number 3. This is the optimal state. Okay. Now, 6 to 12 months of your money is put aside for expenses. Imagine a whole year. Imagine a whole year of your expenses. So if your expenses is $5,000 a month, right? Imagine having $30,000 to $60,000 put aside. You think if this person gets laid off or fired or downsized, they're worried? They're not concerned. They have a whole year to get it together. They can pay their mortgage without missing a beat. They can pay their car payments without missing a beat. They can continue doing everything that they're doing without, they can continue taking their kids putting their kids in daycare. They can continue everything that they want to do because they've put aside a whole year's worth of their expenses. This is where the confidence comes in. You're not pushed and pulled by anyone. No one has their thumb on you. It's about saving the money and putting it aside, right? We're in a society where people encourage you to spend. Spend, spend, spend. There's sales on everything. Buy, 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 buy. And you get ridiculed and laughed at if you're not keeping up with the Joneses. And we're encouraging you to save and put your money aside so that you can weather any storm. Doesn't matter what the newspaper says. It doesn't matter what the economy says. It doesn't matter what's happening. You can handle it. In the retirement section, you know what you're doing? You're putting aside whatever it takes for you to be on track for your retirement goal. Let's say your financial independence number is $2,000. You're putting away $2,000 a month. You're on track. You're doing what you're able to do whatever it takes because now you're in the optimal state. You're in milestone number 3. And then your debt to income ratio should be brought down to 0 because you should pay off all of your debts. And when I say all of your debts, I mean any debt that's not earning you money, right? So if it's a mortgage on a rental property, that's a good debt, right? That's a good debt. I'm not talking about good debts. I'm talking about paying off the Home Depot credit card or the Lowe's credit card or the Canadian Tire credit card. I once saw someone, they had a flip open wallet where they could go through all of those, store creded cards, Home Depot, Lowe's, Canadian Tire, this, that, and Walmart, and all of the credit cards, right? Pay them off. Pay them off. In fact, if you have a $5,000 credit card and you're making the minimum payments, all right? You're making the minimum payments. Look at this. It'll take you 15 and a quarter years to pay it off. You know what the interest rate is going to cost you? $5,500. This is why Visa loves many, many people. Visa loves you. MasterCard loves you. Home Depot credit card loves you. The total cost for you to borrow that $5,000 is $10,595. Let me go back to the statement that I asked you to write down. The people that understand interest earns it. The people that don't understand it, they pay it. In this case, Visa is understanding it very well. Right? Visa understands it. Now, what if you said, let me put an extra $100 a month on that credit card? You know what? All of a sudden, that 15 years drops down to 3 years. You know how much interest you pay now? $1,400 instead of $5,500. The total cost of your debt is $6,489,000. $6,489, pardon me. Who does the difference? Who should the difference go to? Should it go to your family or should it go to Visa's shareholders, MasterCard shareholders, the bank shareholders? Where's the money better? You got to understand how the banks and these companies, they work as a business. When you understand this, then it's game on. It's game over. You're in a good position. All right? Many people are feeling the pinch when it comes to their financial